right, I promised I would come back and show the reveal of what I prepped in our last session, and then to see how I approach the next steps. So again, pen. I often choose a pen that blends with the colors I've used to create the watercolor. That doesn't have to be. I just go with whatever I'm inspired to do in the moment. There's not a lot of head planning. Again, that's not where my art wants to take me. So this just kind of outlines the mountain ridges, and again, crackly mountain ridges. Not planned, just allowing the pen to find its way. And I find there's not a way of going wrong anyway. But what it requires is to let the logical mind take a bit of a backseat. So here in front, I have the peaks of some kind of a pine forest. Pine sometimes has the swooping lines down like a Christmas tree, but often here pine trees actually have these horizontal branches along a vertical stem, and so feeling more inspired to doing these horizontal squiggly lines. And maybe then to add little peaks. Just kind of tie that all. Oh, that feels pretty good. Let me just bring this up to the camera so you kind of see what I did there. And then we have a bit more over here. And again, I just go with where the color settled for my watercolors and what it suggests to me, as in the vegetation present in that area. And right now we're still at the bursting of spring. So, I'm actually grabbing my beautiful, look at these delicious colors of watercolor pencils to help a softer squiggly. And you hardly see it, but it creates a bit more definition in, can you even see that? Sorry, I'm so carried away by coloring sometimes. I'm not sure where I am. It just adds a bit more definition. Right here you actually see it really well, the contrast from before to after. And again, I just let the placement the watercolor found be the deciding factor here. Just making this was more three-dimensional. And you see where the color of the tree bled into what I would call the lake here, which I then take as an invitation to suggest this is, oops, a mirror image of a shadow, sorry, of the trees on the water. And often the shadow is a bit darker. We'll fill in watercolor here, as in watercolor. So the sunlight comes from behind. All right, filling in watercolor. I still have my water here. So this is also a bit of a darker blue. Again, shade, the shady shore, rather than the brighter center of the lake. Just a deeper, and often, you know, Lake Champlain over on the New York side of the lake, the banks are quite steep, so the water there can be really, really deep. And again, that would support the darker color of those waters. Okay, proceeding, I'm adding a bit of black into like inky dark waters. And these bays, inlets of water. Okay. So now is added water, not really more color at the moment. Let's just kind of blend this in. Excuse me. And again, water. That's the beauty about watercolor. You can just soften any line so easily. Little greenish water over here. Excuse me. A bit of blue and a bit of green left here, so just kind of working this. It's a bit for stiff and rich here, but I think we're getting there. There we go. There we go. Now we got it. All righty, and to allow the blue to get lighter and brighter on the side that is more sunlight exposed. Excuse me. Here we go. Still blend in a bit more over here. There we go. The trick I found is just to get enough moisture into the paper to allow for its capacity to pick up paint to increase. It's a bit more dark over here. And then just gradually this gets brighter and brighter. Alrighty. So we'll let this dry now. Although the beautiful thing about these watercolor pencils, now that I have such nicely soaked paper, oh yeah, here we go, and you can even dip the pen into water. It softens the pen just enough to give definition, the movement of the water, and if you press harder you get more color of that pencil, sorry. So just allow for that to create movement. And then again, the softness of the pencils invite a softer definition, added detail. Reminds me of dunes with this dune grass. Love the ocean. Big enough lake feels like an ocean. Sorry, the camera is probably wobbly because I'm making all these squiggly lines here. And because it's springtime, there's already a bit of green, spring green, visible in between the growth that was left from last year. Here we go. And then on this side, again, one of my favorite features of bushy growth, the sumac, with the purplish burgundy fruit stands from the previous year. They don't even stand out all that much in purple, so give it a bit more red. Just a bit more definition. That's good burgundy. Because by this time of the year, they're kind of darkish. More brown than burgundy, actually. Or more brown than pinkish red, I guess is what I'm saying. So that's my sumac. And then just add new grass. Like ein Hauch, we would say, ein Hauch. Just an exhale, the English. Just like a veil of new green grass sprouting, bringing all this to life. And then lastly, I think I can add now, it's dry enough, those tree trunks over there on that shoreline. These could be willow trees, actually. They have that kind of yellowish, fluffy looking growth of new green. And so they have these firework-like branches. And they love to be right by the water. Willow trees are very thirsty trees. They like water. So there's a whole willow grove, I guess. All right. And then last but not least, I haven't tried this before, but I'm curious to see how this would work. I've not tried a sky with just pencil, predominantly pencil. I love the sunsets over the Adirondacks that are just powdery colors, peachy, sherbety colors. Since the sun sets over there, again, the shadow effect on the lake makes total sense, right? Just kind of the pre-dusk look. And then it's also important to know when something is done, to say, this can now stay. I'll let it dry, and we'll see tomorrow what it turned into. Toodaloo.